How's she going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampy's Workshop. Boys, I'm glad you dropped in today because I got a doozy of a tale to tell you today. First of all, it's about my Massey Ferguson GC2300 subcompact tractor. There's nothing better in the world than this Massey Ferguson GC2300 as far as I'm concerned, right? But like everything, it has its weaknesses, and I found one of them here when I was doing the 1,000-hour maintenance on my little Jewel. I was draining the hydraulic transmission oil. When I cracked the plug to drain the oil out, oh boys, it was stiff. It was stiff coming out the whole way. And when I did finally get the plug out, I didn't pay much attention to it till I tried to put it back in, and I couldn't get it to thread in. Then I looked closer. The plug was, the threads on the plug were filled with aluminum. You know what that means. So then I looked at the thread hole in the transmission case. Stripped. Yes, boy, it was stripped. Let me tell you. It looked like it was bored out. It was stripped so good. And it just made me sick, I'll tell you. I was laying there under the tractor and I near threw up when I saw that. What am I going to do? Like my tractor, because of an M14 bolt, she's sitting here in the shop, can't go anywheres. What am I going to do? It wasn't a nice feeling, I have to say. But anyway, I didn't want to give up on my little tractor there, so I started looking for solutions. How am I going to fix this problem? Well, there's a bunch of different things you can do, right? You can just wrap Teflon tape around the plug and jam it in the hole and hope to God it doesn't leak. You could do that, but I didn't want to go that route. And then I thought, well, hey, you just put some thread sealer on it, you know, like epoxy thread sealer. Put it in as best you can and hope the epoxy sets up, no more leaks. Don't have to worry about it. And no, that wasn't what I wanted to do either. Then I was going to bore it out oversized and retap it. I wasn't really excited about that. I don't know why, just didn't like doing that. The other thing, I was going to put a helicoil in it, which involved boring it out too. But helicoils, I never had good luck with helicoils. Helicoil always seemed to me like it was a last gasp at trying to fix something, you know. It didn't seem like it was an ideal solution. But then I have a neighbor here on the lake, Glenn, just lives up the lake. Glenn suggested to me that I put a timesert in it. A timesert. T-I-M-E-S-E-R-T. Now, I had never heard tell of these before, but it's like a helicoil, only better, I think. Better, much better, actually. Like a helicoil is just like a coil of wire that you insert into a bored out hole, and then that coil of wire becomes your new thread for whatever you're putting in that hole. But in the timesert system, you actually install, it's like a threaded bushing that you install in a bored out hole. You board out, retap it, install this timesert in it, and then the inner thread in that timesert is the thread size that you want, or that originally was in the hole. In this timesert system, if you've ever heard tell of them, then you know all about them, but if you haven't, I'm just going to tell you a little bit. I think they're really a good solution, and a good permanent solution, better than original, I think, in my opinion, for a stripped out hole. So that's what I ended up doing. So I went online to buy my timesert, and had a shock there. They're expensive, buddy. Make sure you take your wallet with you when you're going to go looking for timeserts. I paid over 200 bucks for this kit. It's an M14 by 1.5 system. It comes with 5 thread inserts. It looked like a really nice system when I was researching it on YouTube or else. It seemed like it was easy to put in, neat and tidy, looked good. As long as you're careful and make your holes square and plumb, everything should be fine. So I decided I'm going to go with timesert, but like I say, it was expensive. I got my tractor sitting here that I can't even push it out of the shop anymore because there's no oil in the transmission. So 200 bucks or plus, it's worth spending to get my tractor repaired. So I ordered this timesert on Glenn's advice and a few other people, and from seeing some research and reviews on YouTube. And it was late getting here, of course, coming from Amazon. It's always late these days. But it did finally show up, and I have to say the timesert, it's a great, great invention. I had Glenn, my neighbor, come back up to help me install this. We installed it yesterday. Today's Sunday, so we installed this yesterday. So Glenn came up to help me install it, and also another neighbor of mine, Anthony, who's an excellent mechanic, motor. He rebuilds engines. Anthony came up to give me a hand as well. So the three of us were there laying on the floor under the tractor, and we bored it out, and then we cleaned it all good, because there's lots of shavings come when you're boring, because the case on this tractor is aluminum. so it's soft, easy to bore, so that's one good thing. It's easy to tap, easy to machine, but there's lots of little shavings. And I didn't want those shavings to get in the transmission because, well, that just you don't want metal shavings in a transmission. That just goes without saying. So we were very careful. We put grease on the drill to catch all the shavings, and we only drilled a little bit and then cleaned the shavings off. Drill a little bit, clean the shavings off, and same with the milling head to set the shoulder in place on the hole that we bored out, and then the same with the tap. So I think we did good keeping the shavings out of the transmission. I don't believe there's any shavings in there whatsoever. And we managed to drill and tap and set the time cert in place, and it looks good. We put it in with Loctite, so I let it set overnight, filled it up this morning with oil, no leak so far, everything looks good. So you know, it was all in all, although it was a sickening experience when I saw that drain bolt was stripped, it turned out to be a good result. So I tried taking video of this whole job, but you know, my heart just wasn't in making videos because my heart was in the can because of what happened with my tractor. I had a hard time getting over that one, I must say. Kind of a little bit depressed, but all in all it worked out okay. But I do have some video here and there of what was going on. Like I changed the main filter on the transmission, the main hydraulic filter, because this was part of my 1,000-hour maintenance, right? So I didn't show draining the oil, but I showed I'll show changing the oil filter, which is nothing, it's just a spin-on filter. But I also cleaned the hydraulic oil pre-filter. It's a little screen filter that's on the side of the transmission case. You have to take the rear wheel off to get at that. So I took that off and cleaned it, and that all looked nice and clean, so I was glad to see that. And then actually putting in the time cert, I was planning on videoing all that and making a really nice you know, video about doing a time cert. But I didn't get much of that done. All I got really was we were boring out the hole. So sorry about that, but I can report that it went in very, very slick, just like the instructions say. If you follow the instructions, zip, 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 you know, there's nothing to it really. Just be careful, make sure it's good and square. And knock on wood, so far it's working good, no leaks. And it looks better than new. I've got a nice steel thread now for my drain plug, you know, so we're golden. So what I'm going to do then is show a little bit of the video about the maintenance, because that's what started the whole video, but then it sort of morphed into a drain plug repair. So let's go get at her and we'll see what I did there to get my transmission oil maintenance done. And I'm happy to report everything's cool. So now we take this wheel out. And the reason we're taking the wheel out is right here. I need to take this. This is the primary filter. I have to take that off. Okay, I have the tractor jacked up and on an axle stand. I didn't show draining the oil out of the transmission or taking the filter off because there's lots of videos around about that. But this is called the primary filter here. So I'm going to take that out because I want to show you that. If I can get it. There she comes. This is kind of critical, I think, this filter. There she goes. There's a couple of O-rings in there. That's what makes it hard to pull it out. But there's the filter. Wait till I get a rag and we'll take it over on the bench. So this is the filter. I'm not sure what all you can see on there, but I can feel little grits. So that's a very fine screen that's on it. So we're just going to put this in this little tub of solvent. Rinse it around a little. Just to clean the oil off it and make sure that there's no marks or cracks or splits in the filter. So this is your primary hydraulic oil filter. It's right at the very bottom of the sump. All the oil gets sucked in through this before it's distributed around in the transmission. So this is critical that we change this one. So in this fitting, there's an O-ring on the back of it, and that seems to be pretty good shape. So we're just going to set this back in place. So that's that primary filter looked after. We're going to put the filter back on. So I want to clean this. There's still some oil leaking from that, but I think for the most part she's dry. So I put oil around the seal on the filter, so we'll just add the filter back on here. Now one thing I did here to help this was there's a filter guard that goes across the bottom here, and I took that off just to make it easier to get to the filter. It's almost like that hole is cross-threaded, so I'm going to just have a look at that. So here's the time cert system that I was talking about. Very nice system, nice little case that it came in. And when we open it up, we see this is the complete materials that comes with it. First of all, we get the drill. Drill is very good quality and very, very sharp. And we just use that to drill out the hole of the where the threads have been stripped. One thing you have to take note of, and it says so in the instructions, that when you're drilling out the stripped out hole, make sure you drill it out good and square. So if you take your time and do a nice job, drill it nice and square, this whole system will work. Like anything, step one is always the most important. If you get that right, everything else sort of falls into place. The second part of this is this little machining tool here. This plug fits in the hole that you just drilled with your drill, and then this milling tool that's on the side here cuts a recessed shoulder at the top of the hole, and there's also a shoulder on this cutting tool, if you can see it there. I'm not sure how well that's showing up, but you can't overcut this shoulder. You just run this tool in and keep cutting until it cuts no more, and when it's finished cutting, it means that the cutter has come up against this shoulder and it won't cut anymore, and then you know you're done. And this is a very sharp cutter as well, and that cut very quickly. Of course, I was milling aluminum, so that's probably a reason, or maybe more of a reason, why it cut so easily and quickly, but this cut it very nice and neat. So after you cut that shoulder, then you take the tap, and the tap here, in my particular case, this is an M14 by 1.5 tap, and this is a very good quality tap as well, very sharp, cuts the threads very, very nice. Did a really nice job cutting the threads. I only wish I had gotten some video of when we did this, because it looked very, very nice. But the size of this thread matches the threaded insert that you're going to insert. So this thread here on the outside is what this tap is tapping the hole to. So we'll talk about these inserts now. These inserts, you see in the top edge of it here, the very top, it's kind of heavier and left flat, almost like a little castle top on it there, and that's what sits into the shoulder that this cutter has cut. So when you thread that into your hole, then this will seat up flush with the top of the casing or whatever it is material you're setting the tap insert into, and it works good that way. The way you insert this is we have this final tool here. It's called the insertion tool, and this is a thread, in my case this is M14 by 1.5, and it fits inside this threaded insert like that. And then what you do is you just put a little Loctite on this. They recommend too that you put some sort of fluid, lubrication fluid on this, so that it will release easier once you set this in. So we used fluid film, but they suggest maybe WD-40, any kind of lubricant on this. So then you would thread that in here, put my Loctite on this, and then I'd run this into the tapped hole that I made with this tap. And when we ran that in, the way this insert works is the threads at the bottom of it here are sort of made in a deformed shape, and as you run it in with this insertion tool, it reforms the threads on the inside of the threaded bushing and then forces the bottom of these threads out into the surrounding casing that this insert is being inserted into, and then that makes it adhere and reside in there permanently. And then after it seats out well, and this shoulder, build-up shoulder here, sets in the shoulder that you cut with your cutter, this one, then you just back the insertion tool out, and lo and behold, this steel insert is left in the casing, hopefully never to move, never to come out, never to ever be replaced again. And the thing about these, this is a nice steel thread now that you have in your aluminum block. It should never be an issue again. Also, the instructions come with it are very concise and very clear, to the point. Time cert system, I recommend it.
I'm happy with that. Anthony?
Yep, I'm square.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, as soon as it has... Okay, hold it.
What?
Just, we better get that filing off there. We're just going to push it into the case.
Yeah.
And I might re-grease it this time.
Everybody looking good?
So far, yeah.
Okay, a little less pressure, Mike. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop. This is gonna, the bottom has to come towards the front, just a bit. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go down a bit. There.
Okay, bring it out. That's
Yeah.
time to do that a little bit.
Like it's done.
Yep.
Okay. Put it there, yeah. Everyone happy?
Yep. Give her. Oh, you're almost home.
Yeah.
There you are.
You're through now.
Yeah. Don't go any more if you don't have to.
Nope.
So I'm going to have to set them up now. So it doesn't, I ripped the hose off too. Okay, the transmission takes, I think, 11 liters of hydraulic oil, TDH, and that's what I'm using, TDH oil. So I put some in small containers so I can control the addition of the oil. So that's what we're going to do, pour it down. I have my funnel set up here into the back of the tractor. So here we go. So just finished putting the transmission oil in, and I just want to show you down here the sight glass. And it's hard to see the oil in this because it's so clear, but right now it's totally covering the sight glass. It was just at the very bottom, and I put about another liter of fluid in it, and now it's covering the glass, but my transmission filter hasn't been filled with oil. So I'm going to start the tractor up now, let it run for a bit, circulate the oil, and then we'll see how it looks. So there you go. I went from, man oh man, this is the end of the world as far as I'm concerned. I wrecked my tractor trying to do maintenance on it, to, hey, I got a great repair, this is going to last forever and ever. One thing that I was concerned about when I was doing this, from all the choices that I was reviewing to repair the drain plug, to drill out the drain plug causes shavings, metal shavings, and I didn't want those shavings to get into the transfer case or the transmission case at all. Didn't want any of those shavings in there. So you notice there when we were working on it, we put grease on the drill. That was the only part of the video that I got, was drilling the hole. We put grease on the drill. Well, the shavings then would get caught in that grease. And then we also put grease on the tap and whatnot. So I think we were very good. We managed to keep all the shavings out of the transmission. I'm pretty sure we got 100% of the shavings out of the transmission. So anyways, I think we did a really good job repairing this. I want to thank Glenn and Anthony for helping me out with this job. And I got my tractor back, I got my oil in there, and there's no leaks. We're ready to go. So this is a crazy video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a sickening one for me when it started out, but it ended up good. And you know, any video with a happy ending's got to be a good one. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, give me thumbs up, leave me some comments for my regular viewers too. Thanks for all your support, and I appreciate all the time that you spend watching my channel. Don't ever forget that. It really means a lot to me. Thanks everyone. Stay safe, stay healthy. I gotta go drive my tractor. We'll talk to you.